Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Oh, a little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of reef smell on your boy?
What that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
Billions is coming back on Sunday. It's the season where Bobby acts.
Next week?
Yes.
It's
where they join forces season.
Yeah.
Can't wait. And now there's no excuses. It's because I told you we went the full Roku. So now we get every app on every TV.
Oh, okay.
What was holding us back before is we could only get Showtime in like the bedroom.
Right.
But now we got Roku out in the living room.
How you like the Roku setup?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
My favorite part is how the app goes through your phone. Like I never have to go, hey, where's the Roku remote? Because I just open it,
right,
and bam.
Which is what I really liked about Chromecast. You know, I was an early adopter of that technology, and that was rather short lived. They still support the technology, but the hardware is going away. I guess I don't know.
Is it just going to be cloud based?
Well. I mean, you need something.
Well,
you need some sort of device.
Is that you could broadcast. Yeah, it was a piece of hardware that let you broadcast to a TV.
I mean, a lot of the TVs have that chip built into them now too. And I think what's holding Chromecast back is getting support for remote. Because I have eventually just put everything on my server and watch it through there, through Plex. Because anything that I was shooting through Chromecast not only had intermittent audio dropouts for some reason, that no matter how I tweaked my systems, I could not get rid of. It also, the remote controls for the television did nothing. So you'd have to open up the app and control it from there. It's nice.
I'm in the mindset now of like, why do we still have remotes? Why do we still have to do this? Why can't it all be like Roku? Like I can now control it through my phone. The end.
Here's the thing. Touchscreens seem to be the future, right? And they are futuristic, and they're great because once you nail down the technology, it's actually much cheaper to build a touchscreen than it is to build a panel of buttons and switches and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's modular. You can change it to whatever you want. I used a lot of different control surfaces for making music and mixing on my iPad, and they're great, but
the latency.
No, it's not so much it's the latency of the mind.
Because my problem is with that stuff is when I'm trying to do stuff, when I'm trying to make music and I'm using my Bluetooth stuff, I need because there's a delay.
Yeah.
There's a delay. If you have rhythm, you notice the delay.
In that respect, yeah.
So I need a wire.
But
so I have no
you don't
delay.
There's not so much with the control surface stuff that you notice the latency because you're not triggering notes. It's the latency of the brain because when you have an actual keypad of some sort, if you have buttons in that, you don't have to constantly look at it. If you're really familiar with it, it's like typing. And you're relying on muscle memory. You can't have that accurate muscle memory on a touchscreen surface because you have no reference. It's just all a flat plane. And you can't put your finger on a button and look away or do something else. So
I'm trying to do right now.
So what you have to actually do is spend that time instead like looking at your touch screen and making sure that you're hitting the right stuff.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Stupid brain.
I found it was nice for stuff that you couldn't do with other types of interfaces. So, doing like, not that you couldn't do it, but it's not as easily done. Like the Chaos Pad stuff with the trackpad on it, that you can just swirl your finger on and change effects or trigger samples or anything like that. That type of control was nice. And plus with the iPad control surfaces, you can have them do these weird like algorithms that'll output information. If you want to make like random noise type of generated like noise, then it's perfect for it. But for just regular music creation, no, it's still the mouse is still much more handy because you don't have to constantly, your hand is moving the thing on the screen. If you could have a pad that showed where your hand was hovering above everything on the screen up in front of you with the rest of the information and trigger stuff that way, or just anything, any kind of gesture. Yeah, all that's coming eventually, but until that comes...
What's probably what the military is using right now?
What I'm saying is the future is going to be less Star Trek and more Minority Report, where instead of having those just panels that you're just hitting buttons on, look like Simon, on Star Trek, instead of having these shifting delay displays, it'll be gestures. Yeah.
Biometrics.
Well, biometrics would be the computer like reading your insides. This is.
Well, yeah, wouldn't that be a part of it? Knowing that to look for your hands.
Well, yeah, I guess that would be part of it. Yeah.
Dude, they have
for security systems.
They have technology in cars now where they can tell when you're not looking at the road.
Well, here's the other thing, though. In order to do something like
my mom was telling me her car was warning her about keep your eyes on the road just because she was looking at the radio.
Right. It knows where your eyes are looking.
Yeah.
Right. But in order to have the Minority Report type of gestures, you still need some sort of feedback. It really helps to have. That's why even when you have touchscreen apps that have no buttons, you still have a certain noise when you click on something, or on the new iPhones, it's the little buzz that makes it feel like you're clicking a button.
I don't need that shit. I just need to see it happen.
Or
I don't need to hear a noise or see it or feel a bump.
But it's one thing I think when you're using a device that you're really familiar with. But yeah, I think you need some sort of haptic feedback, right? You'd still have to wear some sort of glove that would, or there would have to be something. Maybe it was just done with like air pressure or something.
Yeah.
Where you could feel if you grab something on a holographic screen, you would feel something, some sort of feedback. Otherwise, your brain isn't making that connection. It's not a natural movement.
I'm sure porn will figure this out.
It's you don't without haptics, you're always operating. You're like an old man trying to program a VCR. Like keep pushing the button. Did I do it? Is it working?
Pornography will figure this out and then give it to the rest of us to use.
Right.
For practical reasons.
Haptic feedback for porn,
but they'll figure out haptic feedback for your dick.
Oh,
and they'll pass it on to the rest of us.
That's already that's out there.
My theory is the government / military has putting on tinfoil hats. No, my theory is that they have they're 10 years ahead of us. Like the shit we're going to be allowed to have in 2029 is what they have right now.
Maybe.
Or maybe 5 years. Maybe to make it realistic. Maybe it's 5 years. Maybe the stuff they'll give us in 2024.
I think if you're talking,
they have right now
the broad strokes of technology, as in like computing technology. Yeah, absolutely. ARPANET preceded the internet. The government had their own internet before they ever got the public involved in it.
Like when the iPhone came out, I was like, all right, so this is what the government had in 1998, or maybe like 2003. This is what they were using.
Possibly, but I couldn't see what the advantage would be to
communication. Streamlined communication.
But there's nothing.
That's the first thing smartphones did, is they streamline.
No, but there's nothing that smartphones change in communication. It's just how you access the device. That's all in the human interaction with it. There was no groundbreaking technology. I mean,
yeah, but now we've gotten into facial technology and that shit.
I think you need to back up a little bit for this and look at the actual wireless technology for cell phones in general. That whole network, the government, I'm sure, had access to. I mean, that's satellite technology, right? So they had satellite communication before the civilians did.
Yes.
Now we all have satellite communication right here in the palm of our hands. So it's not so much about the technology that drives the look and the feel and the interaction of it. It's the raw technology of what is the system that makes this thing work. And that's part of it. I mean, I know we have a lot of, pork programs in government when it comes to R&D for technology and weapons and all this stuff, but that's also what's helped drive these big things when we decided that we wanted to electrify the U.S., that we wanted to lay down track, that we want to build huge dams and reroute rivers and change the landscape and terraform the country. That's what the government's for, right? They're going to overspend.
Allegedly.
They're going to do. It's going to be twice to spec, just to be extra sure and hopefully bomb-proof. And that's what they're there for. That's how we've managed to advance. It's not just from individual ingenuity. It's just brute force, money, and manpower, right?
Yeah.
Even missions that we look at as more scientific are still involving the deaths of people in order to accomplish them. To get to the moon, people had to die.
It's true.
To build bridges, people died. To dig canals, people died.
Which Apollo was it? Were they all burned on the launch pad?
These are government funded, and they could just pile tons of money into it and not have to worry about somebody going, what are we getting for this? And what's the bottom line here? And are investors getting a return for their money here? And yet we see these things torn down and right in front of us. These institutions that we've spent so long building up in this country, and like anti-vaxxers it's still a thing. It's still a fucking thing.
The measles are back, everybody.
We solved this problem. We did it with brute force, manpower, and the power of the American government. And we said, fuck these diseases. There's something we can do about it.
Clothes off in a magazine.
And we went Hulkamania
Believed a
on
fake
this
study.
shit.
A study that's been disproved over and over
right.
and over and over.
The people that gave their lives to this research and all the taxpayer money that was just funneled into this
Somewhere
to get rid of
eternity.
things like polio and all this, the diseases that we've nigh eradicated amongst the population.
Somewhere in eternity, Dr. Jonas Salk is going, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, but you put stuff in it like aluminum.
Yeah.
Do you not understand that the human body is has metals inside of it all the time? It's like anything. It's a question of dose. There's no such thing as poison.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as mercury poisoning when you want to speak technically about it. There's mercury overdose.
Yeah.
Right. You can have a very tiny, minute, and I don't even know if it does anything good for you, but I know that a little bit of mercury is not going to kill you and it's not going to fuck you up. A tiny bit more will. It doesn't take much. A little goes a long way. I mean,
wrong mercury.
People eat gold for fun now.
Yeah, don't they put gold flakes on food and shit?
It's ridiculous.
Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
I don't know if this has anything directly to do with the flat earthers, but I saw a story on the Telegraph today about how there's a new movement that's gaining traction with people about the concept that space just isn't real.
What? Let's hear it. Why not?
Passionate planners, planers, I think, like we live on a plane, are winning huge audiences by lending credence to the idea that the entire architecture of our solar system, as we know it, is a fraud. If you want, you can follow this in real time. Hashtag space is fake.
Wow. Really?
To many, it is a logical extension of a firmly held belief that the Earth is flat, so it is connected.
Oh, these dipshits.
That we live not on a planet, but on a vast plane. Let's see. Robin Campbell is one of the organizers behind this convention that they had. We are trying to make sense of the environment, having discovered the globe model doesn't stack up.
Hey.
You can't just say that and then move on, right? If you're going to make an audacious claim like that, we can't have a further conversation until you explain why the globe model is fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And if it has anything to do with the way that we represent it in maps, then you just
need to leave.
Yeah, right. You have to prove to me that gravity isn't what we think it is. So I don't know, what does he say here? Our human civilization is actually inside a Truman Show-like enclosed system. Camp believes that space is merely an artificial light show projected above our flat, endless plain of land and sea. So, is this an acid casualty? Like, what? This is the type of shit that you think of when you're really high. You know, what if
space is a lie, man? It's all fake, perpetrated by the government.
And I mean, I know that there's supposedly some supposedly there's supposedly some very intelligent people who believe that the Earth is flat, and maybe this is the extension of that, like, you know, them actually thinking about what the rest of the universe might look like if the Earth is actually flat. But I mean, you could just steal from quantum physics. Quantum physics has enough magical weirdness.
Just go out into the country and look up.
And you could say, you know what, the Earth is flat, but that's only because we live in a holographic universe.
Drive out into the country, look up, tell me what that is.
The theory of a holographic universe is not one that has, I don't think, any like true believers, because it's not anything that can truly be tested. But there is the idea that it doesn't discount any of the physics and planetary science and anything that we know in the universe. It's just saying that it could all just be a projection. right, of another universe.
What for a dream within a dream?
It's kind of a Matrix type of theory, yeah.
Giant, he's having a dream.
I mean, so if we're just a projection, then yeah, maybe we're projected onto a plane. And then, the reason everything interacts like we have gravity and we live on an orb is because it's all designed and programmed into the projection.
What? It's all like the end of St. Elsewhere. We're some kid with Down syndrome snow globe.
But see, that's an argument that I might actually listen to. At least it's coming at it from a different perspective. I have to believe that a lot of this is just from dissatisfaction from the answers that they're getting from science. Because, like, planetary science is kind of easy to explain, right? Especially once you start getting pictures that you can publish and go, here, look, this is the shape of the Earth, and this is the, Mercury in front of the sun, and shit like that. And those pictures can, really convince somebody. But then you start getting into stuff that people can't see, that we can only deduce from what's around it, that we, have methods that it might just look like a lot of colors, and it doesn't even look like anything. And it's hard to even explain. Like, the concept of an infinite universe has been disproven pretty much. The idea of what's on the other side of that finite barrier of the universe is unknown, and it's all that's known about it is that it's not this universe, right?
What kind of weed is this, by the way? We were getting awful deep really early.
But so some people find that to be a deeply dissatisfying answer. When, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson gets asked, for example, if the universe is infinite, what's on the other side of it? And he goes, not universe, right?
Thanks, buddy.
It's something else. And it will remain something else. Because whatever it is, it probably doesn't adhere to any of the rules of our universe. So we don't even have the tools to measure it, much less the organs to see it or smell it or experience it. Right. It would be like a fifth dimensional being trying to communicate with the four-dimensional being. You think you're having a linear conversation and they're experiencing all the things that you've ever said to them at once.
Jesus. That's a lot.
Oh, here, Neil deGrasse Tyson is quoted on this. He says that we have video from space of the rotating spherical Earth. Space as fakers claim the reality is Photoshop nonsense. That the familiar pictures of our globe from orbit are what they call blue balls. To what end? What is the benefit? That's another thing. Because you have to claim a massive scientific community and governmental cover up an operation, right, to make the world believe a thing. To what end?
I have a lot of people in on this,
right? Because where does it go from there? A lot of times it's lizard people, and then there's no more conversation. But what is the benefit of the government fooling us into the shape of our world, our universe, or anything like that, or the scientific community?
Like we're all escaping the planet en masse, and they got to come up with a lie to keep us on it. We can count the number of people who have left the planet.
There are often rational reasons why people believe in conspiracy theories, and this has to do with both individual experiences, but also the lack of transparency, the lack of ability to critique and to view what's happening in big organizations.
Right, now we're getting. I want to get super existential on here for a second.
Yeah.
Do I leave the planet technically when I fly, like from here to anywhere?
Well, I think there's argument for that. Because the border that you define is arbitrary, right? We think about there's atmosphere and it's all kept in by something, and then the rest is space, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not. I mean, it's not. Even when I touch the table, there's not just a defined line of like my finger stops here and the table starts here. There's no point, no matter how fine. Actually, the finer we look at that contact between the two, the more it starts to look enmeshed, and you can't tell what my finger is and what the table is. And the atmosphere is like that. Certainly there's a sweet spot of oxygen concentration that you want to keep within if you're not in a pressurized cabin of some sort. And you would definitely notice that. But there's no line. There's no border that's crossed.
Bill and Ted remix.
Like, space and atmosphere are constantly overlapping and spilling into each other. It's like, what's the border of a sun? We measure it, say it's about this size.
Burn.
Right, but it's constantly in
turn
turmoil.
into liquid. Probably the border.
So yeah, if you want to shift goalposts from what the norm has determined is considered space, and say I've technically been to space, good luck. But
still in the atmosphere of the planet.
Well, not that. Again, that's the definition of atmosphere.
Travel in the stratosphere.
Right.
It's definitely where planes fly.
Right. Which I guess would still be part of the overall atmosphere,
Yes,
or is the atmosphere actually the inner part that we breathe?
I believe, fourth grade science kicking in here, I believe the ionosphere is after the stratosphere, and then after the ionosphere is where space shows up.
Right.
Here you go, fourth grade science teacher, wherever you're at. It worked. I remember it years later.
Oh, did I send you the video from Joe Rogan? He had somebody on that tries to explain this.
Good God.
Maybe I'm just not. Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't get it. I can't erase it. Damn it! I sent that to my cousin. Not my cousin. My niece.
Oh,
she's like, oh great, my uncle is like a flat spacer. God damn it!
Space is fake. Hey, you could have said worse things to your niece. Just putting that out there.
It's Joe Rogan show is probably going to be cursing in there too, right?
How old is she?
And she's like 15.
You're all right. I say you were 6.
Okay. There, I sent it to the right one. No, she's like a toddler. Like, Earth is flat.
You know what I want? One example, Eddie, of why we should believe the Earth is flat. That's what I want.
Are you kidding me?
You son of a bitch! I want it so bad, and I am high and drunk.
We can
and
talk
you
about
guys want
flat
it too.
Earth as long as it's a joke and it's funny.
I'm cool.
Because if it gets angry, then it's not fun.
I'm not married to that.
If it's jokey,
I'm not married to it.
Yeah.
Jokey. Convince me that it's
this
flat.
Eddie guy.
There's no way I could do that, man.
God, really? There's not one.
The flat earther.
It's about a year and a half of like one.
Year and a half? That's too much.
Very hard. The indoctrination's so strong. You look at your son's cartoons.
What?
It's all space. I look at all my shit. All the shit my son likes. His everything is there taking space.
I'm doing research on this currently.
Space.
I want to direct everyone to hashtag space is fake. Because I've been doing research on space being fake.
Is that real? That's a real site?
Yeah, hashtag space is fake is something I'm investigating for my next hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm legitimately looking deep into people
flat
that
Earth, there's
flat
so much
earthers
material
mock
there.
that.
I thought he was actually going to explain some of this
Space
shit.
is fake. What?
No.
You dumb
You flat
motherfucker.
earthers like
Flat
bro,
earthers walk
chill.
away
No,
from
it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
You got it all wrong. Is
Well,
everybody that
I've
believes
got to
the flat-
think this is not
everybody-
very organized.
No, what I'm saying is
I got to think I
everybody that
couldn't have it
thinks-
all wrong.
No,
There's no way.
anybody that thinks the Earth is flat, they totally don't believe what we're taught about what's above us. So when
the
people
sun?
say space
Wait a
is
minute.
fake,
I don't understand what
the
he's
sun,
saying.
They mean all the.
Does he believe this shit or not? I can't tell the way he's talking about it.
that shit. That it's not that it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. We see it.
Right, of course.
But space is fake sounds ridiculous. Like there's
something
we're
up
looking
there.
at it and it's fake. That's ridiculous. That's
just
not what
the
it means. It
Truman
means
Show.
that all the information we got about all
We're
those
off.
lights in the sky.
Yeah, something
they're
else.
They're lying
NASA's
to
lying?
us. They're
So what are
lying
they?
to
Why
us.
would NASA lie?
And there's a reason. Why
See, that is my question. Why?
Hold on.
So I don't wanna talk
Can you give
about
us the Cliff Notes?
The Cliff Notes are man.
Yeah, this is tough, right?
Any kind of a
He doesn't need to be. Let's hear.
Especially without scientific
Their goal
background.
has always been for the most powerful emperors is a one world government. They always wanted a one world government. all the Roman.
I tell you, he's going to start talking about lizard people.
How about and they would fall, and a new emperor would come and go. You know what? I'm going to fucking rule
world
the world
domination. In other words,
I'm not going to let my soldiers get married. That way, we'll have a stronger army. They have different philosophies. Everyone believed different shit, but they all wanted a one world government. There's no way to have a fucking one world government. Nobody's into that shit.
Right.
Not even other rulers from small countries are like, one world government. That's going to put me out of a job. Fuck your one world government. People that don't know
apparently
shit about politics don't want a one world government.
He used to be a flat earther and he came around.
Government. It's impossible.
He sounds like he's...
The only way
is he gonna
to
make
a one world government work is to have the people embrace it. They have to want it because nobody wants it. So the trick is to make people want it, to embrace it. There's only one way.
I gotta pee.
There's only one way.
Joe, this is very important. I've heard this. I know this.
Okay. I don't know
the only way. And they've known this forever. The Vatican knew this. The Vatican, the Pope wanted to rule the world. They all knew it, but they couldn't do it. They all knew
He's like that real estate guy.
He realized like this year.
The only
wait. He's going to say
is
it.
if there was some extraterrestrial threat from up
I think this is him trying to explain
This is
why they
lizard
believe
people,
it.
only way
Yeah.
to have everyone embrace the one world government. They all knew that for years.
But it didn't work
That's
so far.
the plan. They could never
It's a
make
shitty
it work.
plan, though.
They didn't have the technology 500 years ago. The Vatican knew about it. They wanted it. And you go to the Vatican, you see paintings of like
Have you been there?
UFOs with aliens in them. And back when I used to believe in UFOs, but before I figured out that UFOs are
I don't know what the
they
fuck
want
you
us to
just
believe
said,
in
little
UFOs
kid.
because they're preparing us for a fake alien invasion. That's always been the plan. A one world government. The only way to do it is to get us to embrace it. And the only way to embrace it is from an alien attack.
Stupid?
Ronald
Could
Reagan
you
talked
see
about it many
our current
times.
world
The UN,
leaders getting together and making a
CFR,
plan like
he talked
this?
about it.
No,
Wouldn't it
absolutely
make-
not.
looked at all
Especially with who's in
the
charge of us.
Of the nation, of the world, and said, wouldn't it make our lives easier?
It would take wiping off the majority of the people of the planet to accomplish this, right? You'd have to get rid of entire countries of people to accomplish this.
I don't think he ever said that.
What drugs are you on?
This guy's just spouting nonsense. He finally acts like he's gonna tell you the truth, and then it just... He reminds me of the Asian real estate dude that has a secret.
Oh, yeah.
The secret words to the success, and I'm going to tell you them in just a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about I don't know what.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.